There's another group of people that's remarkable. They're remarkable for another reason. And that reason is they're able to suppress and swallow their rage. They're able to swallow rage. وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ. And this phrase, in the context of the seerah, you have to understand, the first example of that, according to Imam Razi, is the Prophet himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's extremely infuriated, angry, frustrated, hurt, saddened by what happened to the Sahaba. Not just what happened to him, more importantly, what happened to Hamza radiallahu anhu. And the words that came out of his mouth I discussed with you before, the kind of frustration that he experienced on the day of Uhud, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah says the first quality, they're able to suppress the anger. They're able to swallow that anger. And that the first demonstration of that was the Prophet himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The second part of this is we did suffer terrible loss. And it was a result of some archers that left their position. Now everybody else who suffered loss or whose family member got killed, like you come home with not the news of victory, but you come home with the corpse of the father, the brother, the husband, the son, right? And what happened? How did this happen? Well, the archers left their position. Who? My neighbor? He's one of the archers? How are you going to look at that neighbor now? Every time you look at him, you're the reason my uncle's dead. You're the reason this happened. Every time you see the Prophet ﷺ's injured face, you're sitting in the khutbah and you're listening to the Prophet ﷺ and you're looking at this guy like and those people are just sinking in their spots. You understand? Because it's a very difficult position to be, those archers, after this has happened. You understand? And so there's an anger and a rage, and people are discussing it, right? After the war happens, people are discussing what happened. Oh my God, I can't believe these people. And Allah says, in that moment, instead of focusing on your pain, you need to what? Suppress anger. What that means is not only are they able to suppress their anger, they're able to do so not barely, but they put their foot down and really put a lid on themselves. They're able to have self-control. And what the wording of the ayah suggests is Allah made human beings capable of controlling their feelings. So you and I, doesn't matter who we are, we don't get to say, I had no control over my emotions. I lost it. No, we didn't lose it. Because Allah made us capable of what? Qadmul ghayth. He made us capable of suppression or control. Now, but then again, I didn't answer the harder question, which is, well, how are you supposed to suppress anger? There's a legitimate anger. Even the Prophet ﷺ felt angry, So the way to understand this problem, first, let's look at the word anger that Allah has used in this ayah. Let's look at it a little bit deeper. Then we'll look at the word suppression, qadhim. We'll look at that a little bit deeper, and we'll put those two things together and try to figure out what we can get from this ayah about our anger, about how we can live this ayah and run towards Jannah by controlling our anger. Right? Because at the end of the day, what is this connected to? Protecting yourself, muttaqeen. The people of taqwa who control their anger, who suppress their anger, which means if we can do this, we're actually preparing ourselves from Jannah. It also means if we can accomplish this, we're saving ourselves, we're protecting ourselves. What that means is, if we're not able to suppress our anger, then the first harm we are doing is not to the one we're angry at. The first recipient of the harm is ourselves, because we failed to protect ourselves. There was a harm coming our way as a result of demonstrating anger uncontrolled, right? He said anger itself, suppress anger itself. You know what that means? Not only are they able to suppress their own anger, when angry people come around them, they're able to calm them down too. They don't, sometimes what happens? You're completely fine, and somebody comes to you, man, I'm so upset. And you're like, oh yeah? I'm upset with you too now. And two people being upset is actually not times 2, it becomes times 10. You make the problem 10 times worse by instigating someone else or validating somebody else's anger and being angry along with them. So you make it worse for them and for yourself. When you go to 3, it's not the anger of 3 people, it's the anger of 30 people now. That's what it turns into. Allah is saying not only are you able to suppress it yourself, when angry people are around you, you're able to not be part of that fire. You're able to suppress it also for them. Or at the very least not engage in it yourself. But there's a level of anger that when you express it, it crosses Allah's bounds. Because when you're angry and you start using filthy words, or when you're angry and you start using your hands or feet for the wrong thing, Or when you're angry and you start insulting someone. When you're angry and you become disrespectful. Or when you're angry and you do something you shouldn't have done. Then those are all overflowing. So the anger is there and the thought is there, I gotta do something, but you're able to what? Put a lid on it and not let that come out. That's taqwa. That's a remarkable quality of taqwa. As mad as you are, you don't let out an unhealthy expression of anger. It's not like, what do you want me to say? Nothing? You want them to get away with it? Yeah, at the time you gotta cover it up. Because at the time, if you express your response, it's not gonna be a good response. You're gonna become as guilty as the one that's offending you. You understand? You gotta let yourself come to a calmer state and then respond and say, hey, here's what was upsetting to me. They're able to do that. They're able to not react impulsively because of their frustration, because of that enraging heat inside of them. It's like contain that heat before it boils over and spills over and creates chaos. That's the imagery of al-kadhimin al-ghayz. And that's a pretty difficult thing to pull off. But look at the continuity. The first thing was they're charitable, right? When you're charitable, your heart opens up to people. The first thing that happens is your heart opens up to people. Becoming charitable means you're concerned about the well-being of others. The more you become concerned about the well-being of others, the less you are consumed with yourself. And when you're less consumed with yourself, then you're able to suppress something like anger. Because anger comes from where? Some offense that happened to you. Some hurt that happened to you. You're better able to control it. So actually the first is leading in a way to the second too. Even though they're separate qualities, there's a continuity too. So they spend, they're charitable, and then they're able to suppress anger.